All right, so today we're going to be talking about something interesting. It's a work in progress. We're going to be talking about a concept called smart nodes. And smart nodes are, they're making nodes a bit more aware of, first we need to show what the problem with traditional nodes is. And this is going to probably take up more than 2 live streams, just so people know. So, the first thing I want to do is show you what the ultimate goal is going to be. And mind you, this is a work in progress. There's some glitches still, but I'm going to show the video I was just showing a minute ago when I realized that the audio wasn't working. Anyway, here it is. This is the ultimate end result, and we're going to try and recreate this without smart nodes, and then we're going to start creating smart nodes, and I'll explain, we'll go through the process of everything. Anyway, with no more further ado, let's take a look at the animation. All right, so as we saw, it was some text that was floating on, and it was rotating around, and it was doing all this stuff, and it was multiple layers of that. Okay, so we are going to be let's first, we have to explore the text node a little bit to talk about this. So let's switch over to Natron and look at what it looks like. All right, so here in Natron, what we're going to do is we're going to add ourselves a text node. And let's just start off with what the original text was. It said we'll do it in caps lock. Let's move my cursor out of the way. All right, so this was the first statement. And it was a center interact, or at least it was. And then what it did is every single letter was rotating around, right? Sounds easy. That should be something that you would think would be easy to do. So let's see. We look through our text node, and let's see. Where was rotation? Oh, here it is, up at the top. I'm looking further below for it. Here we go. So we start to rotate it, and we're rotating the entire thing. It's like it's not doing individual letters. And there's no option here to rotate every individual letter, which means we can't do it with just the text node. There's a lot. I'm going to say right now, the text node is one of my favorite nodes, and it's going to be one of your favorite nodes as well, because there's a lot of things we're going to be doing with it that's fun. But another issue we have, and this is going to be harder to see unless I scroll down a little bit. I just want to verify that we can see letter spacing. We can. Good. So letter spacing is another spot where if we want to do something with letter spacing, I can drag the letter spacing out and make it wider and so forth, and then I can bring it back in. And this is kind of like kerning with most text editors. If people are familiar with desktop publishing, there's these two things called leading and kerning. Kerning is the space between, leading is a space, kerning is a space between letters, leading is a space between lines. And there's really, a limited amount of what we can do with the kerning inside of, and honestly, with the leading inside of the current version of the font node or the text node. We can't go into negatives. I mean, I can put a negative number in there, but you can see it's not going any closer than 0. It basically stops wherever the font defaults to. So this creates a problem. This makes it very, very limited if we want to do more elaborate things, really fancy things like, for example, rotating each individual letter and so forth. So how would we get around this? Well, the traditional way. This is going to be. We're going to only do this. We're going to just do 3 letters. We're going to put in the word the. Okay, 3 letters. And you'll notice I'll have this running again where it shows the keyboard keystrokes that I'm pushing as well, just in case I forget to say something. Traditionally, when you want to do this, the way you would do it is we would create individual versions of our text, each character. That's the only way we can currently do this. So in order to do this, what I'm going to do is hit Alt. Now I'm gonna just copy this as opposed to clone it for the moment. So I'm gonna whoops, why didn't that work? All right, there we go. Probably because I wasn't clicked in the window. Alt C twice, and we get two versions of this. And then we sit there and we say, okay, well, I need to merge one over the other. And then I can honestly, because one of the nice things in Natron is a single merge node. Unlike a lot of programs, one merge node can merge as many text nodes as we want. So we can merge these text nodes. Okay, so we have all three. They're all saying the exact same thing. So we really don't see much difference, except for we'll go into the first one and change it so that instead of the, it says T. And then we get that, and then we go, uh-oh, wait a minute, something happened there. Let's look at it closer. If we hide the other two, let me make sure I had the correct one, and we hit D to disable those, we can see that the T shifted over to the center. Okay, that's a problem. We can't really have that. That means I got to turn off center interact to make this work, in order for them to line up side by side, or I've got to shift it over in space. But putting a space after the T, as you can see, isn't actually, oh, wait a minute. Oh, it is, all right. It is shifting it over. All right, we can put spaces in afterwards. Well, that's a possibility. So let's try 2 spaces, 1, 2. Let's re-enable this. Let's re-enable it. Nope, that's not looking quite right. We can put a space here, another space. Let's see. Did that bring it over? Okay, a few spaces. I don't know how many I hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was 4. Anyway, 4 spaces to get it over. But that's only the T. Then we got the big problem is does that really fix our problem? No, it doesn't, because the problem is that now our T is rotating still from the same point. It's just rotating offset, at least if we use to rotate here. So, all right, let's reset that to default. Really, this is going to be a time-consuming process if we were to do this. We could I need to get rid of those extra spaces. Then I need to actually move my center point over so that it's actually, aha, there we go. We get it to the approximate location of the other one. Now when I rotate it, okay, I can rotate it around. There we go. We got our T. I'll start it off back, reset to default, go to the next node, select the H, set this to just H. There we go. Oops, that's actually not right either. We saw it move over, so I have to reposition this a little bit. Whoops, wrong thing. Wrong thing. And we'll get there. That's good enough. And then for the last one, wait a minute, we lose our reference if we lose this one. So excuse me, I'm gonna. There we go. I'm going to duplicate it one more time, put that in there so I have a reference for my positioning. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to eliminate the E down to the E. There we go. Now we take our E and we move it over. And what a pain in the butt just to get those 3 letters done. And now we have to animate them all. We have to animate each one, and we got to, all right, well, what am I going to do for the animation? Well, the obvious thing is that I want to rotate it per frame, so I'll go back to the first one, and I'll say, let's set an expression because we want it to rotate continuously, so we'll just say frame times, I'm going to just say 5, I don't know, we'll say 10, just to give it make it nice and quick. And so now when I hit play, we can see, oops, I'm going the wrong direction. That's all right. It doesn't really matter for this. And I can say, oh, I could copy that over, or what I could do is I could shrink this down, set my properties to 2, and open up a second one. I want to make sure my rotation is available, so I gotta, when I shrink it down, so I'm gonna knock it down. I'm gonna control drag the rotation from here up to the first one, and now my H is following it, so now I have 2 of the letters, and they're overlapping, but that's not a big deal. And as we can see, we're just getting to the point where this is just a tedious redundancy. We're repeating a lot of work. We have to relink things. And we're only working, this is just 3 letters. This is a pain in the rump. I wouldn't want to do this over and over and over and over again. But this is what we have to do. At least the way it currently is. And the same would go... the same would hold true if we wanted to animate like the spacing. There was an animation the other day where somebody just animated the spacing between the letters as it zoomed in to make it look kind of cool. Except for we would have to, in all honesty, also I wish to point out another aspect of this, which is right now we're also doing what I consider a semi-no-no. We're actually animating on the text nodes right now. And to be fair, we really shouldn't be animating on text nodes if we're doing animation, because we lose the ability to motion blur. And we're going to see this. There's actually artifacts. If you had looked at the original animation, you probably noticed that there were artifacts when the things rotated. They didn't rotate really smoothly. That's because they weren't rotating. I set the smart nodes up to be the text nodes themselves, and there's a reason behind that, and it will become, just to keep the concept simple. All right, so just for right now, let's break this let's unlink, let's reset the expression, let's clear the expression, and set this to 0. Doesn't matter. And 0. And we're back to the start. Alright. So, that's just, that's just one thing. If we unlock, let's take this and, no, that's not the T. I want the T up. I just want to point out that if we wanted to do the letter spacing, notice the letter spacing doesn't work here. In all honesty, the proper way to do the letter spacing is not to animate it up here by animating the center offset. This is mainly for setting up the position. If I wanted to animate this side, I really want to do is hit T, put in a transform node, then I gain access to motion blur, and that way when I offset things, it offsets. But you'll also notice that because I offset my text, now the center point of my transform node is not at the same point either. So if I rotate that around, it's offset. So what I really needed to do was set that up ahead of time. And I'm not gonna beat this too hard. I mean, this is about discussing why this exists and why we're doing what we're going to do. Okay, and we're not going to get through, as I say, the whole thing. And I'm going to be taking a lot of shortcuts. So I just want to make sure I've hit all my things, limitations, All right, so let's reset this. Let's get rid of this transform. Let's go over here to our T, and let's talk about how can we fix this. First of all, let's reset the center of these things, and let's get rid of the extra letters at this point and start making this smarter. Smarter being, well, I think it makes more sense to show you guys a finished example of smart nodes, okay? Because I don't think I'm going to be able to, even in 2, I'm going to be able to get into exactly every aspect of this. So I actually cheated, and I went ahead and I built the smart nodes. Now, oh yes, one of the things we talked about in the past was we took our text from another node. We did that when we were making the font space or making the words write out like a typewriter. Somebody had asked about typewriting. What we did is we did a get. Okay, well, let me go back to the T. All right, we did a get. I made a second text node. Let's put a text node here, and I entered. This has the words entered text. So what I did is on the other node, I right clicked and I said set expression, and then for the text node, text 2, I took the text field and I dragged it in here, and it said text 2 get. Okay, and by doing that, what I did is then my text 1 is getting its information from the other. Here's something we didn't discuss. We can actually reverse this role to another node. So I'm going to make another node. This is going to be kind of cool. Watch this. We make another text node. And text 3, we're going to... All right, so text 2, I just want to put into their node info for the label. This is going to be called source. That's where our text is coming from. This is going to be called... We're going to make node 1 is going to be our smart node. Okay. And that doesn't read very well. Let's stack the text instead. Oop, there we go. Smart node. And text 3, I'm going to call this our, let's just call it, I'm just going to call it global. Okay? And this will get into, so this is going to get into this whole thing where in text 1, let's clear this expression for a minute. And in text 3, I'm going to have text 3, let's clear this. I'm going to take the text here. I'm going to say send to 3, okay? Whoops, sent to. Wow, that's terrible. Send to 3. That's fine. Good enough. So we're going to send this to text 3. So we're going to take this text and we're going to send it to text 3. But we're going to do it from text 1. And this is really, really important and crucial from the standpoint of understanding something about expressions. So we're going to set an expression. Now, I can grab text 3 and drag it in here. And I can say text 3 get, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say text set. And I'm going to tell it to equal, you know, anything. I will put in, we said it's send, whoops. Actually, I'm going to tell it to copy what I am right now. I'm going to say, excuse me. Actually, I think I can just grab my own. Okay, yes, text 1 get. Let's try that. All right. It's saying it has an error with this because what's happening is that we pointed out last time that we can't do direct node for node transfers of things. So what we're going to do is make this multi-line. We're going to take, well, just to prove that this can be done. First, we're going to set node 3. We're going to just manually set it to hello. All right. And then we go, okay. And, that's weird. I was 99% sure I could set that way. Oh, what did I do wrong here? I didn't look at it close enough. Oh, 1 second. I'm double checking to make sure. No. Oh! I know why. When you set it, you don't say set equals. You put it inside the set, of course. Yes. All right. So we're going to say set. All right. Hello. End quote. All right. Oops. One too many quotes at the beginning. All right. So we hit OK. There we go. So we can see text 3 is now set to be the same as text or as the text we got from text 1. All right. So this means I can grab the text from, or excuse me, I set it from text 1. This means that if I go here, let me make this multi-line. It already says it is. Good. All right. We're going to grab source 2. All right. We're going to set it in here. It's not where I wanted it. We're going to go back up to the beginning, and we're going to say, we're going to make a variable called text, and we're going to set it to text to get. So we're going to get it from our source, and we're going to go to the end, and we're going to set text 3 to text, right? And we go back to 3. Uh-oh. What happened there? I didn't get the correct thing. Let me see. Wait a minute. Hold on. What didn't I do? Text 3. Oh, it just says enter text. Text 3. We're at the controls. Wait a minute. Text. Oi! Text 1. Added expression. User text area. Whoops. That would be why. I didn't want text to. Got the wrong area. It should have been text. There we go. Now we'll set it correctly. And text 3, as we can see, is text 2. All right. So we'll have these two up here. Text 2 is going to be the source. Text 2 will just delete it to and set it to source. All right. And text 3 updates. We can see that. So what we're doing is we're taking the text from text 2, running it through text 1, and sending it back out to text 3. This is really, really interesting because this means that we can store things inside of text 3, anything we want. We can transcode anything from any node into a text variable by casting it as such. And I apologize about my typing at times. So let's go back here, go into our thing. Let's edit our expression here and say, all right, this node, what we can do is we can actually create a list and convert it. For example, if I wanted to take it and let's put a number into it, into text. You know what? I'm going to just make my. I apologize, and I hope this is going to be visible. I'm going to make the properties panel 3 high. That way I can have all 3 nodes simultaneously. This is just too much of a pain in the butt. We're going to go 3, 2, 1. All right, and then we're going to shrink it down so that we can see all 3. And I'm probably cutting off at least the edge of text 3. I'm waiting to see. No, all right, I'm clear. All right, so here's our source, here's our destination, and this is our expression here. What we can do is if I put a number in here, like 12, okay, you can see that it's going to text 3. But in text 1, what I want to do is convert that so that it's an actual number. Well, I can just sit there and I can say, you know, I want inside of text 1, I've gotten the text, I want to say num equals int, or actually we're going to make it a float, float parenthesis text. which is going to be, and so now I've taken, I've I've recast it from a floating point variable into, or the text, I've turned it into into an actual number inside of this particular node, which means I've created a variable off-site or off of this node. One of the biggest problems that we have with variables with the nodes is they only get evaluated at the beginning or at every frame. You can't store something permanently. I can't write something to it, to a variable inside of it, and have it stay there, and then 10 frames later pull it back up. I have to change it. It has to be stored somewhere on the node itself. And there's places I could put it on the node itself, but I can't. Well, I can use another node as this sort of placeholder, as this global, and put off somewhere else. I could re-access, if I want to re-access that information from text3, I could go over to text3 and pull it back in. All right. I hope this is sounding. This is a really weird and kind of difficult subject if you don't know much about programming. Globals are great. Permanent variables and global accessible variables are great because what we could do is we can store a list of nodes into text3, okay, a whole list of them, and then use each node's position in the list to represent a letter from a word, okay? And that's actually how smart nodes basically function, all right? So we sort of set down the foundation of how this is going to work, okay? Now we're going to go over to the actual real McCoy, okay? This is set up exactly like we had before. Here's our source. This is in a world, okay? This is our smart node, okay? And our smart node has two things set up on it, and I'm going to just go over this quick. Actually, it's three things. It has a node. It has rotation set, and we'll just look at the expression here. I'm not going to go into actually coding this fully. We can see that we're taking the frame and we're increasing the frame. We're multiplying it times 10. I don't. Oh, whoa. Right. All right. So I've taken the frame. I've subtracted it because it starts off at frame 1, and I want to get letter number 0. So I start off with frame 1, and with the frame which is 1 on frame 1. I subtract 1, which makes it 0. Okay. I'm using that. Then I'm going to take it from frame 0. I'm going to multiply it times 10, which is going to rotate it 10 degrees from frame 0. Now, the reason I use this is it was copied from, I copied it basically from my actual text node I'm reusing some of the code. Anyway, then I multiply it times -1 because I believe because I wanted it to rotate to the right as opposed to the left. So by multiplying a negative times a negative, you wind up with a positive. And so we wind up with a positive number, I think. Or if you take a positive and multiply it times a negative, you wind up with a negative number. So we can rotate it, depending on whether you put a negative. If you want it to rotate one direction, you put a -1 at the end. What I wanted was it to rotate to the right, so we wanted a result of -320, which makes it rotate clockwise, okay? So that's why this will rotate. If we look at the... I'm not seeing a letter here. Oh, it's over here. That's why. Let's turn off the overlays. We can see when it rotates, it's rotating here off to the left. Now, one of the other things you'll notice, is that this is, when we show our overlays, it's also offset. So over here under my center, I've also set up an expression. Let's edit this expression. This is actually a copy of the smart node where it's actually it's going to use the node itself to the position in the list to derive where its position. There's so many letters in the list. We're going to get the length of all the letters in the list, and we're going to figure out what letter this particular node is going to be, and we're going to multiply it times it, and then we're going to and then it's going to position it based off of a fixed variable. Unfortunately, you could make this flexible by putting in a dictionary with various kerning in it to determine the letters and so forth. Unfortunately, this does mean if you want to do things like resize your text, you're going to have to figure out the math ahead of time to get your spacing and so forth. So I highly recommend figuring out your kerning. You can see I have a spacing is equal to 0.8 in this. That's my actual kerning for this. I just used the text from Natron. Natron uses spacing, so I just called it spacing. Anyway, every node is going to use this because they are. I only wanted to deal with a fixed space. I treated every letter as if it's in a exactly the same distance, as opposed to because the eye is smaller. And the main reason this is useful, this is actually useful from the standpoint of rotating it, because it gives it also space to rotate, so the top of it will not overlap the letter next to it. It's useful from. That's the other reason that it's good for this. If we actually were trying to get things to come together and have a nice kerning or nice spacing so that it was nice and tight, that's a different story, and you'd have to modify this. We won't get into that much more. So, all right. I know we're already running. This is really complex, tough stuff. So we have this. Let's just talk about how it's going to work. It goes into the smart node, and this is the expression for this is almost exactly the same as for the spacing. In fact, it even uses spacing down here. So what it does is it tells it that this name it's getting the script name. The script name is the name of the node. Okay, I'm going to just say it. My name is the script name. That's the name of the node. It's going to create list text. List text. It's telling it to get from node text to get. That means that this node over here, this is text 2, which is over here. It says my node list. Let's take a look at what that is quickly. So what is this? You can see this has all this has is a name in it. It says text 1. Now that text 1 happens to be this node right here. So text 2 is just a list of nodes. All right. And I'm going to just show you how this works, and how useful this is. We're going to turn off the overlays. We only have one node currently. I'm going to demonstrate how cool smart nodes are. This is running into a merge. This merge is going to be for merging all the letters together. I'm going to the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clone the node. All right, so I'm going to hold down Alt. I'm going to hit K to create a clone. You'll notice the first thing that happened when I cloned this node, we're looking at text 2, which is our node list. You'll notice now it says text 1, and then next to it, it says text 1_2, which is the name of this node. Okay, you'll see that our text on the screen doesn't actually say anything. That's because it's not piped into my merge node. When I put it into my merge node, it instantly added it exactly where I wanted it in space and offset with the correct letter. It put the second letter in in my list. Well, isn't that nice? That's pretty sweet. That means in order to now for the next one, you can't clone a clone. All right. So if I went Alt K, it says you cannot clone a node which is already a clone. It makes sense because it's a clone. But you can copy a clone. So if you hit Alt C to a clone, it creates a copy, and it creates it wherever your cursor happened to be, and my cursor happened to be way off in the middle of nowhere. So it created a clone, and a clone of this. And now these are both duplicates of this node, okay? This node that has all this self-contained identification information that talks to this node or pulls the text from this node, which is in a world, and then stores itself in this. And you'll notice the new clone automatically put its number or its text here. It's creating a list. It's putting text 1, text 2, text 3. Now we have 3 nodes, okay? All I have to do is take this, put it in there, and lo and behold, what? Oh, that's a space. The third character of it is a space. All right. How quickly can I make in a world appear? Well, it's as simple as going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't care how many clones I have in here. It doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Well, it does matter actually, but we really want to have a count of exactly what it is, because the node where this node is in this list matters. But it doesn't matter at the same time. If I delete this, you'll notice my list didn't update. This is the one catch to this, is that you to clear this text, you actually have to come in here, select the text, hit delete, and when you let go, it'll automatically rebuild build the node list. All right. So I hit copy. Now we said that's a space. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes. So that's in space. We'll hit. Let's pull up a thing. All right. We have 4 is A, so we're gonna just sit here, and it doesn't matter which one of these clones I select. I can select this one, or I can select this one. Doesn't matter. These are smart enough so that when I go C, I get it. So that should be, we should have space A space WORLD. All right, and then we have all of these. It doesn't matter where I throw them on here, because we now have exactly the proper thing. And honestly, I could even make another copy of them. Now I just take this, wire it up, wire it up, wire it up, wire it up, and you'll notice it doesn't matter. Notice I connected the L before I connected the letter before it, and it seems to be all right. I think I may. Oh no, I didn't. There's D. Is this one? There we go. So there we go. I quickly duplicated every single one of these and turned it into something that automatically is spaced and rotates without doing a heck of a lot of extra actions and so forth. And this is an introduction to the concept of it. Again, we can make a smart node. We can take this and adapt it. You saw in this very thing, in the very text for this. Actually, I need to go into the original. If I edit the expression, I use this very same expression for both the position and for the actual getting of the text. So I can adapt this one expression to function for almost anything I want it to once it's been written. All it has to do is know what its node position is in the list of nodes, of all nodes over here. Okay. It only has to know where its position is in this. And by the way, I'll just so you people are saying, what do you mean list? What's a list? How do you make it into a list? Here's the where it actually makes the list is on this thing. So I got the text. I get the text from text 2, and then I say node list here. And what I've done is there's an option inside of Python called split. You can apply this thing called split to a text, to a series of text. And by default, what split does is it breaks things up based off of a space. And one of the cool things that's nice about Natron is it doesn't use spaces in the node names. It uses underscores. So long as you're not adding spaces to your node names or to the node names, which you should never do because that can create all kinds of funky issues. So long as you stick with using underscores, the only spaces that are going to exist in the node name are going to come from when you add a new node to the list, the pre-existing list. All right. And so when this splits it, they're going to be things we insert on our own. It's going to split it, and it's going to automatically give us a list of all the node names, and it's going to print it out. And all this text down here is basically just all this stuff, and we have to do a lot of little fiddly widdly stuff, and we're going to get into the fiddly widdly on the next video, because I knew this was going to run as long as it did. And yeah, anyway, this has just been an introduction to this. And just so you know, I also want to, before we can close, I wanted to bring up the actual animation of this, the real one. This is the actual inner world. All I did is I literally, to make every statement in this, if I connect it, all I did is I duplicated this frame that contains this background. All I can do is if I want a new word, all I do, or a new phrase, all I do is take this backdrop and I hit Alt-C. Whoops. Why didn't it look? Where is it? It seems to... there it is. Oh, yes. This is what's happened is the... Whoops. The clones are hardwired, because the clones of this node, it cloned the clones here. So we need to actually get rid of those ones, because this is the node that actually has the new text. All I have to do is go over here. I could change my new thing to Natron, and if I go over here and look at it, oh yes, and then I clone it. Whoops, nope, that was bad. Oops, didn't want to do that. I want to clone it, okay, which put the clone way the heck out in Netherland. And then I copy the clone again, wherever. I think we get enough for maybe this. Who knows? Let's see if we got enough for this. Oops. Select our thing. Put this in, and I know I'm going over. Oh man, I've passed my half-hour mark, and all right, there we go. So, as we can see, there's Natron, and it functions. And it was stupidly easy to make that, and I could make as many text, I could make as many of these as I wanted, for as long as I wanted, and I could, and then at the end I can put them all together, and I can make an animation that basically does this. Oops, let's make sure that's fit. I want to, and oh, you know what? It's going to just be faster to show the result. All right. So. Up there it goes. We can see it up here. That's what the result, what it would do is it pulls it in, and we'd go through it, and it pulls around, and we're doing this little rotating thing and zooming them in, and we'll just show the result one more time. And let's see, there, and here's the result. I know we're past the 45-minute mark, and there you go to see the end result. And we're back, and I'm gonna call it here. And all right, everybody have a great day. Keep on Natroning. I'll see you on Wednesday.